49ers fantasy special. Where are you going with this?
This one is hard to predict for me. I was dead on with Debo, thankfully, in week 1, and started him in every league that I have him, which is like 5 out of my 6 leagues. 6 leagues. I know it's ridiculous.
Good move.
However, in the one league where I had both Brandon Ayuk and Debo, I left Ayuk in there and regret that decision immensely.
Started Ayuk?
Yeah.
Oh, you must be mad at Kyle deep down.
Deep down, there's a little bit.
Yourself? I don't know. One or the other.
A little bit. Thankfully, I wasn't willing to reach for Sermon, so the fact that he didn't play in week 1 didn't hurt me. But I will say that I think that that's the surprise for me coming out of this, is that I think that we've heard Sermon is going to play on Sunday. I believe that was confirmed by the 49ers now on KMBR, perhaps. And to me, it would be just like Shanahan to then have another running back breakout and have the bigger game. So while everyone spent their hard-earned draft dollars to pick up Eli Mitchell, I think it's going to be Trey Sermon that has the breakout game on Sunday. I believe that his short area quickness, his initial burst, and the ability to break that first tackle is going to come into play against this talented defensive line. And once you get through to those linebackers, now you have the advantage.
I like Sermon too. I don't know if the Niners do though. I'm going to say something. I'm not sure Sermon's going to suit up for this game. He might be inactive again. Here's why. Here's why. So he didn't suit up week 1. Elijah Mitchell was supposed to be the number 2 running back. He was the kick returner. But then Mostert goes down. Mitchell becomes a starter. No more kick returns for Mitchell. Ambry Thomas took over. But they could let Ambry Thomas continue to return the kicks. But they just picked up this guy this week. Trenton Cannon, running back. He's a kick returner. So I don't know what they want to do here. But if they want Trenton Cannon to be their kick returner instead of Ambry Thomas, then Sermon would have to be the 4th active running back. They could do it. I mean, there's no rule against it. I think they should, but I don't know if they will. I'm just saying they probably will activate Sermon, but it's not a layup. It's not a slam dunk.
No, you certainly have to keep your eye on your fantasy team. If you plug him into your starting lineup, you better double check right before kickoff, because there's a chance you get that goose egg if you don't.
Let me ask real quick. I don't play fantasy football anymore. You can update your team right before until.
Bless you. Bless you.
You can update your team right before kickoff, right? Like after the inactives are announced? Okay.
Yeah, you can right up until kickoff, 10 o'clock.
All right. I'm sticking with Mitchell. I think the Niners are going to ride Mitchell. If they like him, I think if he doesn't play a good game, I think Niners are in trouble. Maybe Hasty Sermon could do it. But right now, that's the one that running back they seem to have confidence in. And last year when they played the Eagles, they lost. The running back they had in that game was Jerick McKinnon. He was awful. So if they don't have a running back that can do what Mostert does, and that was Mitchell last week, Niners are in big problems. They have big problems. They're not going to score many points. They're going to lose. So I think really, from a fantasy perspective, from a real perspective, Mitchell is so important. Or whichever running back, it could be Sermon. I'm going to say that week 1 was an indicator of where they're going. I'm saying Mitchell. Mitchell is big deal. Big deal. Curious to see what he can do.
There's every possibility that Mitchell ends up with more rushing yards and Sermon ends up with the goal line touches and vultures a couple of touchdowns. I think it could go either way.
Good point. Because last week, Hasty got Mitchell didn't get the goal line carry. Hasty got it. So if Sermon's available, maybe they'll do it like that. Maybe from a fantasy perspective, Sermon gets that touchdown or Lance. You always got to worry about that.
That's what makes Shanahan's offense is so frustrating from a fantasy perspective, is you just do not know from week to week.
And I think he likes trolling fantasy owners too. I probably would if I were a head coach, because I don't play that game. Brian says Niners couldn't stop 2019 Kyle Allen or CMC too. They definitely stopped Kyle Allen. They couldn't stop CMC. Took the words out of my mouth. Sermon is surprised. Could be Sermon. It'd be interesting if they do a 180 on Sermon and Ayuk, because those two were buried last week.
maybe it's just me, but that idea that you need to send the message seems so old school, and
Yeah.
so, like, the machismo to that is like, can you not just talk to these guys? Can you not just coach them up? Can you not just like sit down man to man and say, hey, listen, this is what I expect from you.
Right.
You're not currently living up to it. And as opposed to hurting the team by taking physically gifted players off of the field and substituting less physically gifted players for them. That's
Right.
frustrating.
It is frustrating. But Kyle's old school like that. And again,
He is.
I don't think interpersonal interactions are his forte. Just don't think they are. He would rather just bench you and not talk about it and have you get the picture. Okay.
It's like giving your wife the silent treatment instead of just having the awkward conversation that you need to have to get over the fight.
Yeah, just have the fight and then it's over. Just express, let her say it, you say, and then it's over. As opposed to sitting in your room, folding socks, putting your cell phone timeout,